Hi everyone, and welcome to Pragati Test Booster Sessions, Day 5. I'm Suyash. Just before starting the session, can someone just confirm in the chat if I'm audible and if this screen of mine is visible? All right, cool. So today we'll be starting with a new category of Pragati exam, and this category happens to be one of my favorites. Today we are going to deal with logical reasoning, right? And specifically, we're going to deal with blood relations, puzzles, coding, and decoding, right? So these three topics are going to be covered today in much details, and hopefully you guys will understand these after the session ends, right? So without any further ado, let's quickly start with blood relations. Yeah, blood relations, right? So let me quickly get my pen. Blood relation, right? So any relation in the world which is either by birth or by marriage is called a blood relation, right? So any relation by birth will be mother, father, son, daughter, etc. And any relation by marriage will be father-in-law, mother-in-law, etc. Right? So for instance, take a look at this example, right? Pointing to a photograph of a boy, Mr. Ram said, "He is the son of the only son of my mother." Right? So Mr. Ram is saying that he is the son of the only son that my mother has. Now, we have to find how is Mr. Ram related to that boy, right? So from this, I think it's pretty clear that since Mr. Ram's mother has only got one son, the boy should be Mr. Ram, right? So they are the same person. Hopefully, everyone is clear with the types of question that are going to come in the actual exam, right? So this was just an example. Now let us move on to some cases or some illustrations, right? So quickly take a screenshot of this particular slide because it contains really useful wordings, which we will see in upcoming questions, practice problems. So mother's or father's son is the person himself, herself, or their brother. Their daughter is themselves or their sister, and it goes on. So these are basically relation terminologies that are used in our day-to-day lives. You guys can take a screenshot of this and revise on these further. All right. Next up, we've got another slide, which is an extension of the previous one. Take a screenshot of this as well. All right. So hopefully everyone has taken a screenshot of this. Now, these terminologies, husbands or wives, sister, who is called sister-in-law, their brother is called brother-in-law, brother's son is nephew, brother's daughter is niece, and so it goes on like this as well, right? Now, once we get into the practice problems, these terms will be much clearer, right? So learn these, but practice is essential as well, right? So next up, we'll be moving on to the practice problems really quickly, right? All right, so let's take a look at this problem, right? So I'll be waiting for a few seconds for you guys to solve this. If you guys can solve this, please do so and text the answer in the chat box. If you can't, I'll be walking you guys through this entire thing as well. All right, so I'm getting quite a few engagements here, right? Hmm. All right, so in this problem, what we have to see is the wordings in this particular problem, right? So take a look at this. He is the son, right? He is the son of the daughter of the father of my uncle, right? Now, while we're reading this like this, it seems quite um, complicated, right? But trust me, it's really simple, right? So let's take a look at the particular wordings or word by word, right? Father of my uncle, right? So the girl is saying that her uncle's father, right? So what does this mean? It means that this particular man or the father is this girl's grandfather, right? Because her uncle's father is her grandfather as well, right? So now this father has got a particular daughter, right? And this daughter has got a son, right? Now take a look at this, right? He is the son of the daughter of the grandfather of my uncle. Now my comes on the after uncle. And from this, what we can also imply is that father, right, is the grandfather of this girl, right? And this grandfather's daughter's son is obviously going to be this girl's brother, right? Right? Because this daughter is going to be this girl's mother, right? So hopefully this is making sense to everyone, right? Am I clear on this? Is anyone confused? All right, cool. So this was a fairly basic one. So what you from this, I think what you guys can learn is that you have to pay attention to possessive pronouns, right? So search for words like my uncle or my father or my mother, and then from there you can work your way around to other relations and then hopefully arrive at a particular answer, right? So pay close attention to my or words as such, right? So the answer to this was A. Next up, Rita told Mani, the girl I met yesterday at the beach was the youngest daughter of the brother in law of my friend's mother. How is the girl related to Rita's friend? All right, so the answers are mixed. Some are saying E, some are saying C, some are saying D. All right, so let me walk you through these problems. All right. So, first, there are a few characters in this particular problem, right? First is Rita, whom we are concerned with in this problem because the question asks us, how is the girl related to Rita? Rita's friend, sorry, right? So first we have to where take a look at where Rita's friend is, right? So her friend's mother, right? Because Rita is speaking this particular line. The girl Rita met yesterday at the beach was the youngest daughter. Youngest does not really matter in this case, right? So this can be omitted, right? Was the daughter of the brother in law of my friend's mother, right? So Rita's friend's mother has got a brother in law. So Rita's friend, this RF means Rita's friend, has got a mother, right? And the particular girl that we're talking about, just a second. Rita's friend has got a mother, right? All right, cool. Rita's friend has got a mother, and the mother has got a brother-in-law, and the girl that we're talking about is the daughter of Rita's friend's brother-in-law, right? Rita's friend's mother's brother-in-law, right? So from that, what we can imply is that this particular girl or the daughter of the brother-in-law of her friend's mother is basically the cousin, right, of Rita's friend, right? So is everyone clear on this? All right. So let me reiterate this. All right. Take a look at this. Rita's friend has got a mother, and the mother has got a brother in law. Brother in law. I'll write IL for in law, right? Rita's friend has got a mother, and the mother has got a brother in law. Now, what is brother in law, right? Brother in law is basically Rita's mother's husband's brother, right? So take a look at this, right? Rita's friend's mother's husband's brother, right? Is that making sense? Rita's friend's mother's husband's brother. And this brother has got a daughter, right? Daughter. So obviously, these two, Rita's friend and this particular daughter, are going to be cousins, right? Rita's friend's mother's husband's brother's daughter. Is that making sense? If you guys are a bit confused in this, try rereading this question a few times, right? And try making a mind map in your copy or in some place where you can write. And then try seeing, because brother-in-law is basically the mother's husband's, right? Or Rita's friend's father's brother, right? So take a look at this that way. Rita's friend's father's brother's daughter, right? Rita's friends, or if we call her, if we call the person A, right? A's father's brother's daughter, right? So it's a four-way relation, right? So hopefully that makes sense. If it does not, these types of problems will come later on in this particular practice set as well. And so in that, you guys can sort of see and hopefully try to connect to the problem, right? So the answer is option number 8. So take a screenshot of this problem if you're still a bit confused, and then you can try this later on as well. Next up, we've got another problem. Ravi is a son of Aman's father's sister, right? Sahil is the son of Divya, who is the mother of Gaurav and grandmother of Aman. Ashok is the father of Tanya and grandfather of Ravi. Divya is the wife of Ashok. How is Ravi related to Divya? So this is a pretty long question, but it's quite simple, right? So first, how I approach these sort of problems is I directly read the last question, right? What the problem is asking. So the problem is asking for Ravi and Divya's relation, right? So I'll find where Ravi and Divya are in this particular problem, right? So first, what we know is Divya is the wife of Ashok, right? Divya and Ashok are husband and wife, right? And what we also know is that Ashok is the father of Tanya and grandfather of Ravi, right? Grandfather of Ravi. Ashok is the grandfather of Ravi. And Divya is the wife of Ashok, right? So from these two last sentences only, what we can see is that Ravi is the grandson of Ashok, right? Is this clear to everyone? Yep, almost every one of you are saying C. So yeah, that's the answer. Ravi is the grandson of Divya. So another important thing to learn is to search for the places to find hints, right? So for instance, in this problem, these front two sentences, the initial two sentences, are not even necessary in the problem. These are just kept here to confuse you. So you can simply find relevant information by first reading what the question is asking and trying to look for the relevant hints in this particular problem, right? Cool. So I've included a small explanation as well, but hopefully every one of you is clear in this. Next up, we've got E is the son of C. C and Q are sisters, right? Z is the mother of Q and P is the son of Z, right? P is the son of Z. Which of the following statements is true? So I'll wait for a few seconds for you guys to try this, and then we can try. All right. So most of you are saying B, but some of you are saying other options as well, right? So let me explain the problem to you guys. All right. So first, what we have. So let's see, right? P is the son of Z, right? So we'll be starting from this particular part. P is the son of Z. Z is the mother of Q. Now Z is the mother of Q, right? So take a look at this particular sentence, phrase. Z is the mother of Q. Now, since Q and C are sisters, what we can see is Z is the mother of C as well, right? Z is the mother, I'll write M for mother. Z is the mother of C as well, right? And since A is the son of C, and since C is the daughter of Z, what we can see is Z is the maternal grandmother of A, right? Z is the maternal grandmother of A. Now, since P is the son of Z, right, and Z happens to be the maternal grandmother of A, P is the maternal uncle of A, right? Is that clear to everyone? Is this clear to everyone? All right. So one small caveat is if you guys are not understanding these problems, first, you guys have to be familiar with the terms that are used, which I showed in the first two slides, right? Those tables. Read them thoroughly. And if you guys are confused in some particular problem, take a screenshot of that problem and practice that later on. All right. So I think that would be the best way to sort of understand these types of problems, because if you guys are not clear with the terms what does maternal uncle mean or what does maternal grandmother mean, then you guys have to learn those first before tackling this problem, because otherwise you guys won't be able to solve this problem, right? So pay close attention to that as well. Let's move. E's son B is married with C, whose sister D is married to E, the brother of B. How is D related to E? All right. So I'm getting a few engagements from the chat. Most are saying that the answer is option number C, sister-in-law. Let's take a look at this problem. All right. So what we have to find first is D's relation to E, right? So first take a look at the wording. E's son B, so B and A, so B is the son of A, is married with C, whose sister D is married to E, right? The brother of B, right? So what we can see from this is D is married to E, right? Marry, I'll be writing Marry, marry, right? Who's married to E, who happens to be the brother of B, right? But what we know is that B, right? B is the son of A, right? B is the son of A and E is the brother of B. So that means that D, right? D is the daughter-in-law of A, right? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Because since E and B are brothers, and since D is the wife of the wife of E, sorry, and since A is E's parent, right? A is E's parent, it may be father or mother. So what we can see is that D is their daughter-in-law, D's daughter-in-law, right? Cool. I hope everyone is clear on this as well. Is everyone clear on this? All right, cool. Now let's move on to the other problem. Veena, who is the sister-in-law of Ashok, is the daughter-in-law of Kalyani. Dheeraj is father of Sudeep, who is the only brother of Ashok. How is Kalyani related to Ashok? All right, so let's walk through this problem as well, right? Kalyani and Ashok's relation. That's the objective. So before tackling this problem, read what the problem is asking and don't simply dive headfirst into the problem, right? Have an objective in mind, is what I'm saying, right? So, first, Veena, who is the sister in law of Ashok, is the daughter in law of Kalyani, right? So, first, we have Kalyani only in one place in this particular problem. And then we've got Dheeraj is the father of Sudeep, who is the only brother of Ashok. So, right, since Ashok, let's take a look at this way, right? Since Ashok has got only one brother who happens to be Sudeep, right? And since Veena is a sister-in-law of Ashok, right? What we can clearly imply is that Sudeep and Veena are husband and wife, right? Right? Also, what we can see from this first sentence is that Veena is the daughter-in-law of Kalyani as well, right? Veena is the daughter-in-law of Kalyani, right? And she is the sister-in-law of Ashok as well. So from these two relations only, what we can see is that Kalyani and Ashok are mother and son, right? Is that clear? Kalyani is the mother of Ashok. Is that clear? Yep, the correct answer to this is option number D, which is none, right? That is because Kalyani is the mother of Ashok. Yep, answer is option number D. Let's move on to another problem. In a family, there are six members A, B, C, D, E, and F. A and B are married couple. A is the male member, right? D is the son of C, who is the brother of A. E is this. How is E related to C? So first we have to take a look at E and C, right? So let's try to solve this. So first, let's take a look at this, right? E is the sister of D, right? And D is the son of C, right? E is the sister of D, and D is the son of C, who is the brother of E, right? So C is the brother of E, right? Is that clear? C is the brother of E, right? C is the brother of E, and D is the son of C. D is the son of C, right? So from this, since E is the sister of D, right? So they are siblings. What we can see, right, is that and C, D and C have got a parent and daughter relation as well, right? Is that clear to everyone? Right? The correct answer is option number B. Right? So let me try explaining this once more. Take a look at this, right? D is the son of C, right? And E is the sister of D. So just take a look at these two phrases, right? D is the son of C and E is the sister of D, right? So, and we have to, since we have to find the relation between E and C, and since D, E is the sister of D, what we can clearly imply is that C is the parent of D. C is the parent of E and D both, right? So the correct answer is option number B, daughter in this case. Now let's move on to another problem. B and C are siblings. So first we have to find B and E's relation, right? B and C are siblings. M has two children and he's son of E, who is father-in-law of H. H has only one son. C is the grandson of E, right? So just take a look at these two, right? C is the grandson of E and B and C are siblings, right? So from these two sentences alone, what we can clearly imply is that B is the granddaughter of E, right? So I guess this is pretty simple, right? Once you know where to look, these questions become really simple. So the correct option is option number E in this case. Let's take a look at the similar type of problem. B and C are siblings. M has two children and he is the son of E, who is father-in-law of H, and C is not the granddaughter of E. All right, this information is not relevant in this case, right? What we have to find is H's relation to M, right? So take a look at this. M is the son of E, right? Right, and E is the father-in-law of H, right? So from this, what we can imply is that M and H are husband and wife. Is that clear to everyone? So H is the wife of M because M is the husband, right? Because he's the son, right? Exactly. The answer is wife. Now, this is the last question of this particular type of problem. Pointing to an old man, Kailash said, his son is my son's uncle. How is the old man related to Kailash? I guess this is pretty easy. Take a look at this. His son, right? The old man's son is Kailash's son's uncle, right? So this obviously implies that Kailash, this old man, should be Kailash's father. Is that clear? Because we're talking about an old man, and right, we have to take a look at the relation between old man and Kailash. Old man's son is Kailash's son's uncle, right? So the old man is Kailash's son's grandfather, right? So Kailash and the old man are father and son. Absolutely. The correct answer is father in this case. All right, so we are done with blood relations. Practice that as much as you can, right? Let's move on to the next type of questions, which is puzzles. These are more fun. Now, puzzle are raw information for a sequence or an order of things. Now, these are quite you need to rearrange so that the sequence or order of things can be correctly depicted. So let's move on to directly to the practice problems. So first task in this is to sort of read through these informations, right? These six, right? But just reading through them right now might be confusing because you don't guys don't have an objective about what to do. So what I personally would do is I would try to find what all of these people are, P, Q, R, S, T, and U, given these following informations, right? Given that these informations, I would try to find the job or the relation of P and others and things of that nature, right? So the job of P, what is a job of P or what is a job of T and things of that sort. I'll first do that, then I'll move on to other problems. Right? So let me walk you through this entire thing about how to find the. So take a look at this, right? Just take a look at this information. There are two reporters, two technicians, one photographer, and one writer in the group, right? Now we have already been given a P is the photographer, right? So this one, P's job is already done. And we also know what S job is, right? S is a reporter and they are married to P, right? So we have completed some part of the task, right? Now, next information says the writer is married to Q, who is of the same profession as that of U, right? All right, so we have to keep this information in mind as we proceed to other problems, the other information, right? Now, take a look at this. PRQS are two married couples, and nobody in the group has got the same profession, right? So from this, what we know is that P, right, P and S are already married from information number three, right? So from this, what we can imply is that R and Q must be married as well, right? So let me write this down here somewhere. R and Q married, right? Bracket M for married. R and Q are married, right? And nobody in the group has got the same profession, right? So let's take a look at their professions as well. We know that P is a photographer, right? And S is a reporter, right? So P is a photographer and S is a reporter. We know those two informations, right? Now we also know that that Q and the writer is married. And since Q and R is married, what we can say is that R is the writer, right? R is writer, WR for writer, right? From here, we know that R is writer as well. And now, next up, we have got one writer in this group, right? Who is R. We've got one photographer in this group, who is P. We've got one reporter in this group, who is S. So Q must obviously be a technician, right? So from this, what we can see is Q is a technician, right? This T is for technician, TECK. All right, right? R is a writer, Q is a technician, right? And since we know that U and Q have got the same profession, U is a technician as well, right? So hopefully it's making sense to everyone. U is a technician as well. Now, what we have left is um, what other we have left is T, right? So now, since there are two reporters, we already have got two technicians who are Q and U. And so T must be a reporter, right? Because we have only got one reporter, one photographer, and one writer are already found, right? So hopefully this is making sense. This made sense to everyone. So from this, what we've got is P is photographer, S is reporter, R is writer, Q is technician, U is technician, and T is a reporter as well. So let's move to the problem. Which of the following is a pair of technicians? Now, from our previous slide, we knew that Q and U are technicians. So the correct answer is QU in this case, right? Is everyone clear up to this point? Hopefully, yes, right? QU is the pair of technicians, right? Now, which of the following is a pair of reporters? From the previous slide, we know that T and S are reporters. So ST or option number C is the correct one in this case, right? Cool. Now, how is R related to U, right? R and U. So take a look at this. U is the brother of R, right? This information is given. But what we have to find is how is R related to U, right? In this case, right? So it may be two things, right? R can either be sister to U, right? Or R can either be brother. So there are two options, and we are not sure about which one what it is. So the correct answer is option number D. It cannot be determined because R is brother of R. U is brother of R. That does not mean that R has to be a brother of U as well, right? R can be sister to U as well. So it's the correct answer is D, which cannot be determined. Now, next up, which of the following pairs is a couple, right? So let's go back to our previous this thing. So we know two couples, which are P and S, right? P and S is one couple, and RQ is another couple, right? So from this PSRQ, so QR, right? This one is the correct answer. QR is one couple. Now, which of the following is a pair of husbands, right? So let's go back to our problem, right? From now, the thing is, from these, the gender is not properly defined here, right? The gender is not properly defined, so the correct answer is it cannot be determined, right? So hopefully that made sense to everyone. Now we'll move to this. Study the following information given below and answer the questions that follow, right? This is the same type of thing, right? And we have to determine the first we have to determine PQRST's relation, the attributes that are associated to this, right? And then only we can move forward to with the actual problems, right? So let's take a look at this problem as well. So there are 6 members in this family, which are PQRST and U, and there are 2 married couples, right? So let's try deducing things. T, who is a teacher, is married to the doctor, who is the mother of R and U, right? R and U. So from this information only, what we can determine is that since R and U are not married, right? What we can determine is that R and U may be the daughters, may be siblings to one another. I mean, they are siblings to one another, right? And we can assume that they are not married as well, right? So from this, we can see that R and U are not married in this case, right? We can assume that, right? They happen to be siblings only, aren't you? Right? Now, Q is the lawyer who is married to P, right? So Q and P, let me choose a different color for denoting them. Q and P, they are married, right? So we've got one married couple, right? We've got one married couple. So it's obvious that R and U are not married to anyone, right? Because they are the uh, daughters and sons of T, right? T and some doctor, right? So since R and U are not married, it should be obvious that S and T is another married couple, right? S and T is another married couple. Is this making sense to everyone? Cool. S and T is another married couple. Now P has got one son and one grandson, right? And of the two married ladies, one is a housewife, right? So we know that one of them is doctor, right? One of the married ladies is doctor, right? It's given here. So the other one, right? And since we already know that Q is a lawyer, he must be the husband. So just a second. So it should be quite clear that P is the housewife, right? One of the two married couples. P happens to be a lady and she happens to be a housewife as well, right? And we are also given that there is also one student and one male engineer in the family, right? So one student, so we already know the profession of almost every one of these, right? The doctor is the doctor is S, right? Because T and S are married. And R and U, so either one of them are. So R and U, they are one student and a male engineer, right? We don't know the order, who is what, or things of that sort, right? So I think we have got enough information at this point. We've got the couples and we've got their professions as well, right? So I think we can move on to the problems. How is P related to R, right? P and R. So take a look at this. P, right, has one son and one grandson. So P should be the grandmother, right? And since R is the son or daughter of T and S, P is the grandmother, right? Is that clear to everyone? Cool. P is the grandmother. Now, who among the following is the housewife? We've already found that P was the housewife in the case, right? So P must be the housewife in this case, right? Now, how is R related to U, right? How is R related to? Go back to the problem and see, right? R and U. R and U are siblings, right? So the correct answer is C, right? Brother or sister. Which of the following represents the group of females in the family, right? So in this case, we know that and S, P and S, right? P and S are one pair of ladies, but we don't know if R and U from R and U who is a female, right? So the data is inadequate in this case. This is the correct answer. Which of the following is true about the granddaughter in the family, right? So from this, uh, she is a student, right? Because the engineer is a male engineer. So if the granddaughter exists in the family, she must be a student, right? Is that clear to everyone? Right? Cool. So we won't be doing these for the time being. We'll straight up be diving into coding and decoding. Those problems, you guys can practice those, right? Coding and decoding. Now, this is quite a fun chapter in and of itself, right? So let's take a look at these. Coding and decoding as names are just all right. So you are given a particular condition and you have to find, it's basically like solving a puzzle. It's like playing a game, right? You're given certain hints, you're given certain examples, and you have to predict what other things mean staying within the bounds of that particular example, right? So let's take a look at a problem straight up and it'll be much clearer, right? So in a certain code, sequence is coded as FDO, FVR, FT. How is children coded in that code? So I'll be waiting for a few seconds, and we'll be option number B. All right, someone's saying option number B. All right, so let's take a look at this, right? So this sequence, I mean, this particular problem is quite difficult to solve. Why? Because, I mean, once you recognize a pattern, it's quite simple, right? So what is being done? What's the relation between these two, right? These two words, which are given as examples. So what we have done in this particular case is first, we have reversed this entire thing, right? So take a look at this. Reversed form. How this code is obtained. I'm trying to show that, right? So we have reversed this E, C, N, E, C, N, E, U, Q, U, Q, E, C, N, E, U, Q, E, S, right? E, S. And let's write this just below this. F, D, O, F, V, R, F, and T. I think at this point, the pattern is quite clear to everyone, right? Why? Because take a look at this. E, F is just one step above E, D is just one step above C, O is just one step above M. Same here, same here. V is just one step above U, R is one step above Q, and the pattern continues, right? So what we have to do is we have to reverse first children, right? So let's reverse children. N, E, R, D, L, I, H, C, right? So this is the reverse of children. And then we write just one step above, right? The word should be just one step above this. So O, F, S, E, M, J, I, and D, right? So this is our answer, right? So the only one matching with this is option number B. And so option number B is the correct answer. Is everyone clear on this? All right, cool. I hope everyone's clear on this, right? Let's take a look at this. Arranged alphabetically, right? Then which letter would be the farthest from the first letter of the word? Yep. So the first letter of this word is going to be C, obviously, right? And so the letter here, which is the farthest from C, is definitely Y, right? So the correct answer is Y. But what you guys have to pay attention is if the first letter of this was anything else, right? So you could have counted negative distance as well, right? So for instance, if the first letter happened to be O, and then you were given A and Y in the option, then the correct answer would be A, right? Because A is farther from O than Y is, right? So you guys have to pay attention to that as well. All right, so let's take a look at this. All right, so this type of question becomes quite easy once you figure out the pattern, right? So I'll be showing the particular pattern in this case as well. H, I, L, T, O, and N. So you guys can keep sending the answers if you know in the chat box, right? But I'll be explaining them here as well. So from here, in this particular problem, what we can see is that the letters seem almost randomly arranged, right? But that's not the case. The letters right, which exist in odd number of places are shifted one step further, right? So for instance, take a look at this. One, this is first place. Two, three, this is four, this is five, and this is six, right? So letter at option number one, place number one is shifted one step far, right? So it becomes IH, right? I and H, right? And the third place is shifted one step further as well. So it becomes T and L. And this one, the fifth one or odd number is shifted one step there. So it becomes N O, right? So that's the particular code that we have here, right? Now we do the same thing with billion as well. B I L L I O N, right? So let me quickly number these: one, two, three, four, five, six, and seven, right? So this one goes one step further, which becomes I and B, right? And this one goes one step further, which becomes L and L. This remains the same. This one goes one step further, which becomes O, I, right? And since N does not have anywhere to go, it simply remains as N, right? So IBLLOIN, IBLLOIN, option number three. This is the correct answer, right? Is everyone clear on this? Cool. So let's move on to the other type. Now this is the same kind, right? But in this case, the letters at even positions are shifted one step further. So you guys can try this by yourself. Ajay says it's option number one. Yep, most of you are saying that it's option number one, and that is in fact the correct answer. Option number one is the correct answer. Now let's move on to question number five, right? So this question, I mean, this question is quite fun as well. I mean, you guys have to learn to see the patterns, but it's quite fun. So take a look at this, right? Um, if you guys can solve this, please do send in the chat box. I'll be really impressed if you guys can, because this is quite difficult as well, right? All right, I've got an answer from Samjana, and that is correct. Yep, the correct answer is in fact 46, right? So, but how did we obtain there? How did we reach there, right? So Z, the numeric position of Z is 26, right? Because Z is the 26th letter in the English alphabet, right? And 26 times 2 is 52, right? Right? 26 times 2 is 52. Now take a look at this. A is the first letter, C is the third letter, and T is the 20th letter, right? Right? Now we add all of these, right? We add all of these. What we get is 24. Now 24 times 2 is 48, right? And that's how we got this. Now B80, we do the same with B80. B is the second letter, 2. A is the first letter, and T is the 20th letter, right? Now we add all of these, we get 23, and we multiply that by 2, and we get 46 as the correct answer. Is everyone clear on this? All right, cool. So now next up, we've got another one. This is fairly simple. You just guys have to see the one-to-one mapping between the letters and the numbers. Um, all right, so I guess most of you have solved this, but for those of you who have not, take a look at this, right? So R, like take a look at this, CH, right? CH in this case is coded as 73. And since CH is common in search as well, the last two should be 73, right? Last two numbers. R is coded as 6, right? Second, second, first, first, last, last. So it can be clear that R is 6, right? And the only option which has got 673 as its last three digits is option number B. So that is the correct option, right? Is everyone clear on this as well? Cool. That is fairly simple. So with that, we've come to the end of this particular discussion, right? There are a few useful resources on the internet, right? You guys can take a screenshot of this page and visit them in your free time to practice further, right? And in today's session, I saw that most of you were confused in blood relations. So try practicing that as much as possible from these resources, right? And that's it for this session. Thank you for being there.